welcome again to the wonderful world of green. This is our middle of our second month, and it's just been an exciting time for us. And I hope you guys found some wealth and some profit into the stuff we've been talking about. I know you hear about the stuff that Steve and I and Larry and a couple other guys are in here doing, turning some big deals. Several $1 million, $1 million we made last week with a few partners. I hope you guys can see some of that action pretty soon by teaming up with these people. And I challenge you guys to make some of these people make some one-on-one connections for future, for the next week or so. Make some coffee connections. This guy here, you're gonna start talking to. I see his name is like everywhere, so watch him. It takes time to get this what we're doing here. Steve is in that office 24/7, so it does take a lot of time. You missed last week, which was a great thing. Not the great thing, you missed it. Great meeting. But it's on the website. You can watch it again. I'm sure Steve can too. Over the weekend, I picked up. I got all kinds of old books around. Zig Ziglar's on selling. First of all, I put him on here all the time while I'm in the office. I just love his voice. He got that old southern, slow, and just like words of wisdom from your grandfather kind of stuff. But he says that we should continually learn the little things so we can make the big differences. Case in point, last week we had that exceptional speaker, Scott Layden, in here. 10 million plus investor, mortgage expert, and this academic systems man, as we were talking, Jeff and I were talking. Well, it sounds all complicated, but in my mind, I didn't hear any of that analytical stuff that he was talking about. I just heard, go buy some more real estate. So, besides what we do here normally, I'm out with Arena on realtor.com. Hey, Paul, you guys. And sorry, traffic. We're looking to buy. We're in Florida. Not that we're here, but we're in the Florida realtor.com, just looking for anything under $50,000 because they all make $100 positive cash flow. Just to start doing something. I keep telling you, the programs are nice, but read a chapter, do it. Read the next chapter, do that chapter. A lot of careers been crashed, aborted, as Zig says, because with little chance of survival, because too many people jump into this business without the proper tools, without the proper weapons. New agents, new investors, even new home buyers, they try to do this stuff with absolutely no education. You guys have an opportunity. I'm not saying you have it because you joined. You have an opportunity because if you're not getting on the website, if you're not getting on these calls. Brandon Patrick's had a call the other day for social media. Great stuff on there. I don't care what business you have. If you don't know social media, you don't know marketing. Jeremy Tabor did a fabulous one on agents training.
Well, we had a little snafu there, so.
Well, unfortunately, we didn't tape it, but he did have the great 1 hour show. I saw it.
No, but
Unfortunately. Yeah. But these things, all these things, so go to our website, go to the calendar. Paul's going to have a show on, which is going to be fabulous. Steve is going to have a show on. We're going to have a green show on. Larry has a show on mortgages. All these shows are on there. If you don't use the tools, you're not going to benefit from green. We have about 30 classes a month, 30 shows, classes, green meetings a month. I challenge you guys. How many of you guys watch? So, what I'm talk about today. I am pleased and honored to bring a fabulous teacher and speaker. I met William, like Billy, at a meeting in Florida. I can't remember. He'll tell you where. Doc, he's on, right? Somewhere?
He's adjusting the position.
All right. I met Billy down in Florida. He was at a meeting like this. We met after. He's Eddie Murphy. He looks like Eddie Murphy, talks like Eddie Murphy, acts like Eddie Murphy. And we had a good time. There he is. So he started inviting, and this is 3 years ago, when Green was just a thought that Steve and I were having. So I'm talking to him about Green. He's bringing me up on stage in Atlanta, another place in Florida, and I'm just winging it. As Boss Hogg was up there with Wild Bill, and he was just killing it. And I had my credit repaired, and my credit's always in repair. And what Billy was talking about was just some fantastic, different views of the other guy I have, who's also going to be one of our teachers. And you can see, here's Billy right here. This is next week, or June 24th. He's going to speak with Brian Tracy, so that's pretty big time for me. So I'm very proud and honored. I'm pleased that Billy is finally up and running. He was in traffic today. I don't know where you are now, Billy, but I want to introduce William Crowley. Go ahead, William.
Can you hear me okay? Can you see me okay?
Oh, I hope that's not good. Yeah, I see you good.
Okay. Great. Okay. I'm getting delayed.
You sound
Voice message. Okay. Anyway, thanks for the introduction, and Mark and of course Andrea here. We've got the training session up now, so people can definitely go to that and review it at your own leisure at a more slower pace. Because sometimes when I get to talking, I really get into it and I go fast, and you may miss some of the points that I'm trying to make. So definitely go back and review the training sessions that were just put up on the website today. And of course, you want to get more people to join up so they can see how to do the credit repair themselves. So that's what this whole training is about, to show people how to do the credit repair themselves. Okay. And I'm so used to doing a pitch for marketing. This is kind of new to me, but nevertheless, I think even in my marketing in the past, I've always tried to teach our program. And so those of you who are out there who have negative information on your credit report, and I'm not trying to be politically correct. I like to go straight at the source here. You got bad credit. You have defaulted on your debts. And I consider people like that a deadbeat. Even myself, I was at that at one time. But there are opportunities where you can change these circumstances legally. That's what most people don't seem to understand. Just because you have bad credit doesn't mean you're a bad person. Even though when I'm talking to you one-on-one or in an audience of this nature, I'm going to beat you up real bad so that you can become proactive. Take advantage of the laws out there to change your circumstances, especially if it's legal. We know you defaulted on these debts, okay? And the lenders know you defaulted on it. The credit reporting agencies have some speculation that you defaulted on it, but they're not for sure. The assumption is that if you don't challenge the negative information on your credit report, and mind you, the information does in fact belong to you, if you don't challenge it, then you're letting the credit reporting agency know that they're reporting this information correctly. Now, I can't see the audience out there, or can I? Wave your hands. Let me see if I can, if I can see you. Okay, I can see people. Okay, hey, how y'all doing? Okay, well, I like to see a show of hands first of all. Has anybody out there been contacted by a credit reporting agency? Experian, Equifax, or TransUnion? I don't see any hands. I see a hand going up in the back, that means that person has bad credit. Okay, because they weren't contacted by the credit reporting agency, they were contacted by the collectors. And that's a different animal, and we will be getting into that in a little bit here, okay? That's probably the most exciting part of this credit restoration assistance program that we've created to assist you and help teaching you how to legally restore your own credit, okay? So it's 4 stages. And I like to compete with the traditional credit repair companies, and we call ourselves credit restoration assistants. And you'll hear me refer to that in the training when you go and review the training at your own leisure. And listen, be sure and go and review these trainings, because you can sit down and just really relax and take notes, because this information is new to most of us, okay? We've been trained, brainwashed to believe, and which I agree, that you should take care of all your debts, okay? Satisfy your debts if you have any outstanding debts. But I want to add to that and say, make sure that these are real debts, because a lot of the debts that we think are real are not real any longer. They were real at a certain time, but now they're not real. And you have to be able to alert the collection agencies, the credit reporting agencies, and any other entity out there of what the real deal is, okay? And that's by reading the Fair Credit Reporting Act, Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, Uniform Commercial Code, all these documents that we refer to in the training sessions, okay? So when you do get the opportunity, go and look at it. I'm going to give you a short version today, kind of give you a summary of what to expect. But then once you get into it, I'm always readily available and accessible to answer any questions, have dialogue with you, help you along the way. Okay, because that's what this program is about. That's what Green is about. So, the 4-stage credit restoration assistance program versus your traditional credit repair. Now, wait a minute, let me just say one thing. I'm going to be in Jacksonville. I know Mark had mentioned that I'm going to be speaking alongside Brian Tracy here in the Tampa area in June. But I will be in Jacksonville at the Real Estate Investment Association, speaking there as well on my services, and that's at the end of this month. The Jacksonville, what they call it, I think it's Jax RIA. So if anybody is in that area or you know somebody in that area, definitely tell them to come out and hear my dynamic presentation. Well, dynamic, I guess you would say, but my thorough educational process on how we're going to help people to legally restore their credit. So now, the 4-stage credit restoration assistance versus your traditional credit repair. Traditional credit repair, let me sum it up real quick. What they do is they keep all the information from you. Okay, they don't want you to know anything about what they do, because a lot of this stuff is very simple. So they don't want you to know what they're doing. So they make it sound like, well, we're going to take all your money, we're going to take a portion of your money, and we're going to mail this information out for you, and we're going to miraculously remove 100% of the negative information on your credit report. 99% of the time they don't do that, but that's what they tell you. That's what they masquerade as and tell you all this stuff. That's your traditional credit repair. That's credit repair, okay? That's why almost 20 years ago, we decided to enter the arena, into this venue, and then enhance the services and really educate the public on the inner workings of the credit reporting agencies and what all of these laws mean. So even on the training sessions, you'll see me use a lot of acronyms, but I try to make sure that you understand what the acronym actually means. So when you hear me say FCRA, that's the Fair Credit Reporting Act. FDCPA is the Federal Debt Collection Practices Act, or the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act. And then we even delve into the UCC, which is the Uniform Commercial Code. Now, we've taken all this and created Credit Restoration Assistance Program. That way, you get to see firsthand how to legally restore that information on your credit report. And then you can even turn around and sue for damages if you like. Now, I won't get into that too much, because most people are just wanting to restore their credit. So once you restore your own credit legally, most of you are going to just be happy with that. But I encourage people, get attorneys and tell them, look, I've got the information here that shows that the credit reporting agency has violated my rights, and they've admitted guilt because they've given me this document saying that the information that they removed was deleted based on my violation of the Fair Credit Reporting Act. So give that to the attorney. Hopefully you can find an attorney that'll do it, and then they can sue for damages. And it's a lot of different prices that they will charge you, but also I think you can be compensated fairly well as well. So we start out with, and you are going to start out with, the Fair Credit Reporting Act. How many people in here have read the Fair Credit Reporting Act? I've got a couple of hands up. Oh, great. Okay. Can I ask any questions, or am I just going to be presenting? Can I? If you've read the Fair, oh, great. Okay. So if you've read the Fair Credit Reporting Act, what kind of perception do you have of it? For those two people that held their hands up, what have you used it? Do you understand it? What's your perception of it?
Yes.
If you're shy, don't use it.
You know how to use it.
Yes, it worked.
Speak a little louder.
Yes, it worked.
Okay.
Tina said it worked.
Somebody said it. Okay. All right. Great. Now,
Credit report. That we have the right.
say it again.
That we have the right to dispute anything on our credit report.
Exactly. Now, let's get an understanding of this Fair Credit Reporting Act, because once you read it, it's about 100 pages of laws and it's written in legalese. So I call it intentionally confusing. But to sum it up, the primary objective that they're trying to get across is that the credit reporting agencies are violating your rights as it pertains to putting information on your credit report. I mentioned earlier, had anybody been contacted by the credit reporting agency? Now, I'm going to deviate a little bit, but all of this falls into the realm of the Fair Credit Reporting Act. But it's just that reading it and then actually participating in doing it, you'll find that there's a little bit of a difference, okay? Because the verbiage that they use is that, well, this is not my account. The average beginner who's doing their credit repair is going to say, well, it is my account, so I can't use that law. But that's not what it's saying. What it's saying is this is not my account, according to the Fair Credit Reporting Act, because you reported this information improperly, and then you've distributed it improperly as well. So you have to be contacted by the credit reporting agency prior to them putting any information on your credit report. Make sure we understand this, okay? You have to be contacted prior to the credit reporting agency distributing or documenting anything on the credit report about you. None of you have gotten a call except for the man in the blue shirt in the back who has bad credit because he has collections on his account. But none of you have been contacted by a credit reporting agency, and you never will be contacted by a credit reporting agency. But the Fair Credit Reporting Act, FCRA, specifically demands that the credit reporting agency contact you. Why? Think about it. They don't know if the information belongs to you or not. All they know is that they received information from the lenders, Ford Motor Credit, Bank of America, Visa, MasterCard, etc., saying that you had a hiccup on your credit report, a late payment, charge off, a collection, whatever the case may be. Now, the credit reporting agency receives it. If they're going to keep it in their files, put it away in their vault, where they're not going to share the information with anybody, that's okay. They're abiding by the Fair Credit Reporting Act. But once they start to market this information without first contacting you, that's where the problems begin. Now, when you read the Fair Credit Reporting Act, you're really not going to understand it from that perspective because it's written in legalese. So it's kind of intentionally confusing at the same time. That's okay. We're going to show you how to use these laws to uproot the information off your credit report. Just that simple one I told you, when you say it's not my account, really it's not your account according to the Fair Credit Reporting Act as it pertains to the credit reporting agency. It is your account if you're dealing directly with the creditor. Now, does everybody understand that portion right there? Let me see a hand or a question if nobody understands.
So basically you're saying they need to prove it's your account. Is that what you're saying?
Right. They have to prove that it's your account, exactly. And they haven't. Okay? So that's your first step. So you want to go through and examine your credit report. You can get your credit report from any of those free sites, okay? Credit Karma, Annual Credit Report, or you can put up $1 and get it from Credit Check Total, but you have to cancel it within 7 days or else they'll start charging you up to, I believe it's around $29 or $39. But nevertheless, there's a lot of free sites out there, even though I did mention that you can get your information off of and then start to use the Fair Credit Reporting Act to dispute this negative information on there. Is it time consuming? Yes, it is. Okay. Is it a lot of work? Yes, it is. But you can do it. Okay. But you got to be patient with this. Okay. Now, you take the information from the Fair Credit Reporting Act and you're going to send it to the credit reporting agency and you're going to list a lot of these laws. Okay. Charge-offs, collections, tax liens, judgments. It doesn't matter the nature of it. Okay. There could be $1 million bankruptcy or a measly inquiry. It's all impacting your credit score, and it all needs to be challenged. And you challenge it using the Fair Credit Reporting Act, not some written letter of demanding that they show proof and things like that, just use the Fair Credit Reporting Act when you're disputing the negative information on your credit report. And lo and behold, the more persistent you are, the more responsive the credit reporting agencies are going to be towards your disputes. Okay. Now, they're going to give you the runaround in some cases. Okay. Sometimes they're going to send the information back and say, well, we verified the information is yours. Now, that's double talk. We're not asking them to verify any information is mine. I know the information is mine. I defaulted on the debts. I have the bankruptcy, the tax lien, the late payment, the judgment, the collection, the inquiry, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I know they belong to me. Okay. That's not what I'm challenging you on, Mr. Credit Reporting Agency. I'm challenging you on due process according to the Fair Credit Reporting Act. That's what you're doing. Okay. So if they give you the runaround, you just be persistent and use the next law in line and the next law in line until you get the desired results you want. Okay. They will eventually know that you're serious, and then they'll get serious as well and start to remove this information off the credit report. Now that's the first step. That's the first step. That's where your traditional credit repair companies stop, and they don't even go to that extent because they're not going to tell you what I'm sharing with you here. What you're going to learn on the green training is that the laws, here are the laws. Okay. They don't show you the laws. Okay. They mail it out for you, and then they keep all that documentation for themselves. You're going to see the laws. You're going to use the laws to dispute the negative information on your credit report. And then you can kind of keep track of it as well. So if you use 1681I of the Fair Credit Reporting Act to release a bankruptcy or a tax lien or a judgment, then you've got that documented in your files. So later on in life, if that reoccurs, not reappears on your credit report, but if that same, you get another bankruptcy or something similar that you use that law for, just go back and use the same law that you used before again. Now, the biggest problem in this scenario is what most of the credit repair companies don't let you know is this. The credit reporting agencies are investigating themselves. That's why we have such a difficult time in getting the credit reports cleaned up. Now, we usually do it for a year with people. But with you doing it yourself, you should shorten that drastically because you're staying on top of it. It's not paperwork going back and forth or anything. So the credit reporting agencies are investigating themselves. It's not an independent agency investigating them. They are investigating themselves. That's one of the major problems that we're having. And we have been struggling for years to be able to send our disputes to an independent agency and let them do the investigating. Then it would be overnight. It will be overnight, folks, because we know that they've broken every law according to the Fair Credit Reporting Act. Even the credit reporting agencies have admitted themselves that they don't have the woman power nor the manpower to sustain that workload. I mean, just think about it. The credit reporting agency has to contact you every time a change is happening on your credit report, whether it's putting information on or taking information off. They're not even contacting you at all. And just think of the millions and millions of people out there with Social Security numbers that are transacting business on an hour, on a minute by minute, a day by day basis. The credit reporting agencies just don't have the manpower, the woman power to sustain the workload. So what they're doing is they're depending on you. If you don't challenge them, which most people don't, then you sit there with this bad credit that you don't need to have. So don't, folks, don't just sit there. Become proactive. And especially with this scenario, because we're teaching it to you. We're showing you how to do your own credit repair through the green training programs that have been posted today, mind you. Okay, Dr. Andreas informed me of that. So make sure you go to the website and look at the credit repair, credit restoration assistance program training. Review that. That's the first step. Okay, with disputing the negative information on the credit report. You go after them first, and then you get as much of that information removed as possible. Now, there's a section that's called the validation of debt. Now, this is where we my phone. So can you still hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Great. Because when it rings, I guess it gets some disturbance there. So what happens now is that the validation of debt, this is something that totally distinguishes us from your traditional credit repair companies, okay? Totally. None of them will address that. And if they do address it, they're going to charge you an arm and a leg to do this work, okay? You're going to learn this on our trainings how to do it yourself. Okay, so first and foremost, we're giving you the Fair Credit Reporting Act, walking you through it, showing you how to use it, and then you're going to dispute the negative information on your credit report, have the majority of it removed. Then there's this thing called collectors. Okay, and this is where the validation of debt system comes into play. Collections on the credit report, they're just like any other negative item. You can remove them off the credit report, but that doesn't stop the collector from trying to collect. So let me ask the audience now, if I can, does anybody know what a charge-off is? I don't see any hand. People know what a charge-off is. Okay, whoever raised their hand, my screen is small. Just briefly tell me what a charge-off is. Tell the audience.
That's when a lender takes a write-off on your debt.
No.
They charged it off.
Now, I can't hear him.
It's not good on your credit. No, it's a negative.
I couldn't hear him.
When a lender just writes your debt off,
or is willing to accept less than the debt.
no, he's on his phone. See,
Andrea, can you hear me?
Yeah, we heard you.
I couldn't hear their response, so let me, I don't know where maybe a bad connection in now, but let me just assume what he said was that it's a debt that's been charged off by the original creditor because of defaulting on your behalf, usually about 90 to 180 days from any type of inactivity, specifically non-payment on the account. The original creditor is going to charge that debt off. When that debt charges off, it releases all parties of any financial obligation to the debt. Make sure you're clear on that, because a lot of you are potential investors. You don't want to start throwing away money at collection accounts that could be substantial. You don't want to start throwing money to these collectors when you don't owe the money in the first place. Never ever ignore the collector, but never ever pay the collector either. What we do is issue a validation of debt to the collector. So when the original creditor charges the debt off, it releases all parties of any financial obligation to the debt. Make sure you're clear on that, okay? I can't hear you out there because there's some type of bad connection, but I'll just look at here and just see any type of vibe that I'm getting if I need to respond to a question. So when you're released of obligation to the debt, then you sing hallelujah. Thank goodness the debt is gone. Now the collectors come to the original creditors and buy the debts for pennies on the dollar. Okay, and on the training, you'll see some of the books that I recommend, so you can really see that it's not just me saying this. This is actually part of the Fair Debt Collection Practice Act, the negotiable instrument section of Uniform Commercial Code, and then there's books being written on this information, okay? But the bottom line is this. You don't owe that collector, so you don't want to enter into any type of payment arrangement with that collector, but you don't want to ignore them either. They will buy the debt from the collectors, and then they'll either contact you through written communication, or they'll even call you. More likely, they'll send you written communication first, and they'll follow it up with a call. Once you get that written communication, don't do what most people do. Don't throw that away. You want to save that, okay? Because if you read those collection letters, what it's telling you is this. It's saying, it has come to our attention, paraphrasing, it's come to our attention that you owe this debt, okay? We are a collector, and we're attempting to collect on the debt. We're representing, and they'll give some type of association with the original creditor, which they don't have any, okay? They're not working for the original creditor. They just bought the debt from the original creditor. They're trying to collect on the debt, and they're trying to make you think that they're working for the original creditor. You will never, ever hear from the original creditor once they charge off the debt. Federal law disallows that. They charge it off. They have no more interest in the debt. The debt's satisfied with them. It's either a tax write-off, insurance write-off, whatever you want to call it, okay? But the debt is dead and gone. Now that the debt is dead and gone, the collector buys the debt, and they're going to come after you for it. They send you that letter, and as I was saying earlier, come to our attention that you owe this debt. We're going to make an attempt to collect it. Then it says on the second paragraph, or somewhere real small, it says, if you wish to dispute the validity of this debt, you may do so within 30 days. If you do not do so within 30 days, we're going to assume that the debt is yours, and we're going to take the next course of action. Okay, now what they're going to do is constantly bombard you, call you, send you letters, trying to get you to pay this debt, because they bought it for pennies on the dollar.
they can settle for even 50% off and still quadruple their investment. Okay, make sure you understand that, because people out here all the time when I speak around the country, I hear people boasting, yeah, I paid a collector and I only paid them 50%. When you shouldn't have paid them anything. Do not boast about that. And when people boast about that, put them in their place and tell them, join Green, look at the videos, do this yourself, issue a validation of debt. Okay, issue a validation of debt on these collectors. Now, we're gonna have some samples of the validation of debt letters as well. It's gonna be posted on the website. But what is most important to you is that you don't pay the debt, but you don't ignore that collector. Don't ignore them, because that's somebody knocking at your door saying, hey, it's come to my attention, you owe me some money, and I need that money. And if you can't explain to them why you don't owe the money, then you do obligate yourself to the debt. If you don't issue a validation of debt to the collector like they requested in the letter, then you're going to re-obligate yourself to a debt that's not yours. So don't do that. Now, what we're doing here is, as I said earlier, we're removing the collection off your credit report. You are removing the collection off your credit report. And then you're going to deal with the collector by issuing a validation of debt. Remember, the traditional credit repair companies won't do that. I have to keep reiterating this because a lot of times people say, oh, it's credit repair. Oh, I can do that. You can with the right amount of training, but you can do credit restoration assistance a lot better with more training and much more effective. Okay, your credit report is going to definitely look good, and you're going to save yourself thousands and thousands, in some cases millions of dollars. Because I do credit restoration, as you know. Now, I got high profile figures around the country that don't have time to do this, and they were, I'm talking about professional athletes, politicians, etc. And when they hear me talk about these collections, most of these professional athletes these financial advisors are informing their clients to just pay their collections off, because they know that these people have deep pockets, so they wouldn't have no problem paying off a collection. Well, I've had some of the athletes out there that are making tons of money, still are tight with their money, and they were informed by their financial advisors to go and pay a collection. When they heard me, they said, wait a minute, what? Are you serious? I didn't have to pay that? And I was in excess of $50,000. And it was a $100,000 debt. They said they worked with the collector and got it down to $50,000. But just think, you didn't have to pay it at all. And you don't have to ignore these people any longer. You could just issue some written documentation, challenge the legitimacy of that debt. 99.9% of the time, the collector is going to go away once you issue a validation of debt. And let's say you go into court. Take the validation of debt with you, because the validation of debt is saying this, essentially. It's under my attention that, this debt is no longer mine because it's charged off by the original creditor. Okay? You're trying to collect on this debt, then I need to see the original note, and I need to see some proof that I did business with you. They have neither one. You didn't do business with the collector, and they do not have the original note because that was destroyed when the charge-off happened. That's why they call it a charge-off. The debt is dead and gone. The collectors just have a spreadsheet in front of them where they bought these leads from the original creditor, and they're calling you and hopefully they can strong-arm you into paying. So let me reenact a scenario. If a collector calls you, you want to answer the phone, you can stop with the not answering the phone if they're calling you blocked or unknown or whatever. It's your phone, you're paying the bill, answer your phone, okay? Because it's your job to put these collectors on notice. Great, Mr. Collector, hello, this is a collection agency. We're calling about some money that you owe elsewhere. So you want to respond, great. Now here's what you're going to say. I don't do business over the phone, so please send it to me in writing and I'll be more than happy to settle this matter. Click. One more time. I don't do business over the phone. I'll be more than happy to settle this matter. I don't do business over the phone. I'm forgetting what I said too. I don't do business over the phone. Please send it to me in writing and I'll be more than happy to settle this matter. Click. You want to say settle, you don't want to say pay. Because pay means you want to pay the debt. Settle can give the impression that maybe you're going to pay. You just want to get that documentation from them so that they can, so you can issue the validation of debt. So when you're issuing a validation of debt, you're going to attach it to the original collection letter that they sent to you, and you're going to send it back to them. Of course, when you're doing all this, make sure that you make copies for yourself. Any correspondence you have with these credit reporting agencies or collectors, make sure you keep copies with for yourself as well. Okay, and that's how you're able to see what's going on, and then be able to have proof later on in life. If anything comes back up, you got proof that you submitted these particular documents. Okay, now so
William,
with the validation of debt, that essentially stops the collectors. Now with the back to the Fair Credit Reporting Act for just a minute, when you start disputing, I tell people you're usually going to remove about 70 to 80%, 75 to 85% of that negative information if you're persistent and you follow the program that is on the green website. You should be able to get at least 75 to 85% of that information off. And if you follow it to the T, you should be able to get 100% in most cases. Okay. Now, those are the first two steps of what we call the credit restoration assistance program that you're going to be doing. Okay. Now, the other two steps, I don't have to go as much in detail, but the point is they're just as important as the first two steps. But the first two I had to get them out the way because they were lengthy. And we have the Federal Trade Commission follow-up letter and cease and desist. Okay, the Federal Trade Commission follow-up letter goes hand in hand with the Fair Credit Reporting Act. So if you violate it, if the credit reporting agency doesn't respond in 30 business days, then what you're going to do is submit a letter to the Federal Trade Commission and get the Federal Trade Commission involved. Because the Federal Trade Commission, the FTC, is the watchdog for the industry. They enforce any type of violations that the credit reporting agency, the collectors, or whomever else commits against you. The FTC is the watchdog. So if they do this, like for instance, the credit reporting agency doesn't respond in 30 business days, then we're going to send a letter to the Federal Trade Commission. And then they're going to contact the credit reporting agency and force their hand. Now, ideally, what they're supposed to do is remove the information since they didn't respond within the 30 business days. I think that's 1681I of the Fair Credit Reporting Act. But they've got to respond within that 45 days. If they don't get nervous. You should get happy because they violated that step. And that means now that chances are the information is going to be automatically deleted. So you want to do that Federal Trade Commission follow-up letter if the credit reporting agency does not respond to you within 30 business days. Okay. Now, also on that, visit that website too as well, because the FTC has the Fair Credit Reporting Act there and the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act. So you don't necessarily have to go buy the books. You can look right on the website and get the most up-to-date version of those two laws, those consumer laws that I just was talking about, the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act and the Fair Credit Reporting Act. Also, the what is it called? The cease and desist. Now that's the last step of the credit restoration assistance program. Nevertheless, it's the last step is not any less important than the other ones. But that goes in conjunction with the validation of debt. Now, before we understood the real dynamics of a validation of debt, we used to use the cease and desist. But we found the flaws in there as well. When you issue a cease and desist, what you're doing is discontinuing communication with the collector. We don't want you to do that. So our cease and desist or your cease and desist is going to be structured as it is on the green website, where you're going to say, okay, we want you to discontinue calling third parties about my personal business, my job, my family, my friends, etc. But here is a number where you can contact me. So please contact me at this number for any further correspondence. So that's the difference in our cease and desist. So, we've taken these tools that they've given us, we've kind of modified it, tweaked it, so that you can learn how to do your own credit restoration, okay? It's totally transparent. You're learning how to do your own credit restoration the most effective way we think possible. So the cease and desist is stopping the collectors from telling people your business, telling them to deal with you since you're the one that they want anyway, and tell them to stop dealing with everybody else. And now when they contact you, then you can issue a validation of debt. Mind you, never say to a collector, validation of debt. Never mention that word to them, okay? When you answer that phone, please send it to me in writing. I don't do business on the phone. Please send it to me in writing, and I'll be more than happy to settle this matter. Hang up the phone. Don't get into any other dialogue. Don't give me your address. Don't give me your social security number. Don't give them the correct spelling of your name. If they're a legitimate collector, they already have that information. They're calling you for the money. Don't start incriminating yourself by giving them any additional information. Send it to me in writing. I'll be more than happy to settle this matter. They send it to you in writing, then you issue the validation of debt. But through your dialogue with the collectors, never, ever mention that you're going to send them a validation of debt. If you do, and you're requesting correspondence from them, they won't send it because they know that what you're going to do. They know what a validation of debt is. They know that can shut them down. So they do know the laws. Okay, they're just hoping that you don't know the laws. And what we're trying to do here at Green is to help you to know your rights all across the board. Okay, and of course, in this particular instance, we talked about the credit restoration. Okay, so those are the 4 steps. I see Mark coming up now, I think. Those are the 4 steps of credit restoration assistance that you're going to be learning to do yourself. You're going to take control of your credit and improve it significantly, because you start, as the information is being removed off your credit report, it's going to rescore you on the existing positive information. If you don't have any positive information, we're going to show you ways to be creative and create some positive trade lines as well, so that score can go up, so you can go get the loans that you need to work in this industry. Okay, now I can't. Do we want to open up for Q&A, Mark? Or I see Mark coming up.
Yeah. Anybody have any questions?
Come on up, Mark.
Yeah, I do.
No, Billy, answer away.
I can't.
I got a question. I don't know which way to look, that way or that way.
Look that way, there's the camera.
See what I mean?
I know.
Third one.
Who wins that?
Yes.
I can't hear.
I have a question for you, my friend.
I don't think you can hear.
Bill, you hear me?
Can you hear me?
You need to put his headset in.
Let me just explain why he's having problems. He got in a car traffic, and he couldn't get back to his office during this meeting, so he pulled over to the nearest hotel, and that's how easy you can do green. Now, it's not perfect,
Running a meeting in the cell phone.
but yeah, he went to a hotel, got into a room, and stuck his phone down there,
He's back.
and he's running a meeting. So that's how great green you can do this from anywhere. And he's new at this, but we would tell him to get a headphone set so he can hear. You know?
I'm back.
He's back.
You got earbuds.
I got a question.
I do got the earphones.
Oh, good, okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
Where's our mic? Up there?
Yeah.
Question. So if I have an issue like that, could I call you and you take care of that for me, or no? This is like,
By all means, but remember, by all means, but we want, through green, we're going to train you how to do this yourself as well.
I'm afraid to say it because I told him, listen, this is to teach people, but,
I've done what you've done in 2007.
if you don't have time, you
so I
don't pay, by
understand
all
the
means,
system.
call Billy.
I just don't live in 2007, and I would like for you to do that for me.
Well, one thing
Right,
to keep
yeah.
in mind, guys, is that if you look on the trainer page of the website, you can find all the information for William Crowley to get a hold of him.
So, no, Billy's name and phone number is going to be, hopefully we can post it up here, or just call us up, or I'll give you Billy's number.
Thank you.
I'll give it to you right now.
I have a question.
Yeah, you can give it to him now. You want me to give it to him?
Go ahead, Billy.
All right, 727-798-3092. 727-798-3092.
I can see that.
One more time. Yes.
727.
798-3092.
What you teaching right here, buddy, saved me $43,000 in 2007 with Countrywide.
Wow.
All scandals done. So I know it's real. And I look like
Yeah.
Give us only $23,000 and we'll
He's got a class on the website too now, so Paul, you've got access to that.
Yeah.
I have a question. I do credit restoration with my clients for real estate.
Thank you.
And one of the issues I have is inquiries.
Yeah.
You know how they go to a car dealership and they probably run 20 inquiries on there.
Mhm.
I'm having trouble getting those removed. Is there a
Okay.
call or anything?
Yeah, the Fair Credit Reporting, if you visit the site, then we're going to show all those sites. I don't have it all in my head right now, but the Fair Credit Reporting, remember, it's going to go after the inquiry the same as it's going to go after $1 million collection or whatever, okay? We know that they did it. We know they generated the inquiries, but what we're going after the credit reporting agency for violation of due process. Now, are you using laws? Are you actually using the Fair Credit Reporting Act laws to dispute negative information on the credit report? Or are you using those generic laws?
No, I'm actually using the law. But the problem is getting them removed. They say they fall in 2 years. I understand that. But sometimes my clients come in and they're like, I don't know, I didn't authorize somebody to run my credit 20 times to buy me a car.
Don't get into that. Yeah. Don't get into trying to prove to the credit reporting agency, because that's what the lender, you're dealing with the lender on that. They the one that shotgunned you. The car dealerships are notorious for that. They call it shotgunning, okay? But you don't want to get into trying to prove anything to the credit agency. You want to tell the credit agency, look, you violated. This is what you did, so therefore that's why I want to remove. Don't simply tell them, well, the car dealership ran all these inquiries and I didn't know anything about it. They don't care nothing about that. Okay, they're not trying to verify anything. They should have done that at the beginning.
Use the law to dispute it. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, use the laws of the Fair Credit Reporting Act to dispute it.
Okay.
And show them the violation that they've committed.
Okay.
Larry, you're in the business. What he was saying, is that, you know much about credit repair?
I do, and everything he's saying is absolutely 100% valid. It is very time consuming though, Billy, it does take a lot of effort.
It does.
You know, whenever I call you Billy, they're all green people.
That's why we're gonna pay you to do it, my friend.
I told people, you can do this.
Yeah.
Most people won't. Most people will
And
not.
I'm one of those most people that won't.
Right.
Yeah, but
You have to go to do it.
Marcus has a question.
I'd rather pay someone else.
Marcus has a question.
Hey,
Hey, Marcus.
Cameron's over there.
hey, yeah, I see.
All right.
One, does it have to be a written letter in the mail? Can it be emailed or sent by any other correspondence?
No. Based on our experience with it, we want a hard copy letter going right, certified mail preferably, going right to the credit reporting agency, not email or any other way of correspondence. You want to create a paper trail with the credit reporting agencies, because they want, once you let the collectors and or the credit reporting agencies know that they're being tracked, then it's a whole different story. So do the letters, okay? Do letters to the collection agency for the validation of debt, and the disputes to the credit reporting agency.
Okay, how long does that usually take, in your opinion?
Okay, 45 days is the turnaround. It's 30 business days is equivalent to 45 days, okay? So we tell people 45 days. Now, also with that Federal Trade Commission follow-up letter, like I said, if they don't respond to you in 45 days, then you're going to be sending a Federal Trade Commission follow-up letter to the Federal Trade Commission, and they in turn going to spank the hand of the credit reporting agency. So 45 days is the time frame that they get to respond to your disputes.
Okay, I got one more. I have a charge-off on my credit report, and it's been there since 2008. It is way past the 7 years that you were talking about. What do I do about that?
Okay. First of all, forget statute of limitations. When you when you review my the green training, I always tell people forget statute of limitations. That's only if they're following the law. So the 7 years is automatically defunct. Okay, we don't even care about that because they've broken the law. They haven't verified this information in the first place. If they verified the information properly by contacting you prior to putting it on there, then the 7 years that's valid. Okay, but what we're doing is we're going after them for violation of due process. So collection agent, the collector that's on there since 2008, we don't care the time frame has been on there because they purposely re-age accounts as well. Okay, so they'll keep a collection on it because the whole attempt there is to collect this money. So they'll re-age when it comes near the time for them it to expire. Then they're going to throw it on for re-age the account, keep it on for an additional 7 years. So we don't want to fall into that. What we want to do is immediately when you find a collection on your credit report, you want to immediately, if they haven't sent you documentation, you can even call them and tell them to send it to you in writing. You need the letter or whatever stating how much you owe because you want to settle this matter. Then when you get that letter, remember, you don't mention the validation of debt to them, but when you get the letter, then issue a validation of debt to the collector. So that one that's been on this since 2008, if you don't have any documentation, the phone numbers on the credit report, contact them, get documentation, then issue a validation of debt to them. And then, of course, you want to dispute it with the credit report, get it removed.
Yeah, okay, so you brought up another point. I'm sorry to drag class out, but you got an interest. What if out of the three major lenders, two of them have that information? Who am I writing to?
Okay. Well, you said three major lenders. You mean three major credit agencies?
Yeah, that's what I mean. The three major credit agencies, Experian,
Okay.
TransUnion, all that.
And Equifax. Okay.
Yes.
So yeah, you only have to deal with the one that if you're going to dispute it, have it removed, then you're going to deal with TransUnion and Equifax. The validation of debt has nothing to do with the credit reporting agency. That's you dealing directly with that collector. Okay. Sometimes collections may not even be on your credit report, but they're hounding you off the record for the debt. Okay. So you're going to issue a validation of debt. That's something totally different. The disputing with the Fair Credit Reporting Act is specifically for the credit reporting agency. When you're doing validation of debts, it doesn't matter whether it's on your credit report or not. You're going to send a validation debt to that collector, independent of the credit reporting agency. because you want to stop them from trying to collect them.
You might have things off your credit report, but the guy's still trying to collect money from you. They're two
Yes.
different people.
So how do you find the guy?
Well, you get a letter from a credit agency saying, yeah, we got this debt that you didn't pay the lawn care guy, and now we bought his debt, now we want to go after you. I'm sure he has a return address. That's where you gotta send us a letter back for validation of debt.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's why you gotta join Green, so you take his class.
Okay, all right. Thank you, I'm good.
All right.
See, that's the good thing about this green, because we're teaching you.
One more question, Billy.
I don't have long history, only for 3 months. Is there any chance to make it faster?
He wants to increase his credit score because he just got here.
Okay. So
How do you quickly increase your credit score? Do you have a program for that?
Yeah, you can open up secured credit cards. You can apply for credit out there. Of course, you're going to start accumulating inquiries, but that's where you can dispute those inquiries and get them off eventually. But I would say go to the banks if you got cash. Go to the banks and open up your own secured credit card. Don't mess around with these little Mickey Mouse $200 and $300 credit cards. Go put $1,000 and $2,000 up in a bank to get a secured credit card. You're gonna have that cash immediately available within 7 to 10 days, and then just start transacting business on your secured credit card that you generated, and in the amount of $1,000 to $2,000 or more, and then you pay it off at the end of the month. You'll see your score go up quickly just doing that.
It should be a year.
No, so after 6 months, you will get a score.
You gotta use
it every month.
Yeah,
Pay it every month, but it takes
Pay it off.
to get credit.
Now, Bill, I heard many different numbers. Do you pay off your credit card? Do you pay most of your credit card? Do you pay the minimum? What do you pay?
Yeah.
Is there some kind of magic number where you get the best bang for your buck?
I would tell
raising your credit score?
Yeah. I would tell people just keep making a practice to keep your credit cards at 30% or less. Okay, 30% or less. I usually just make it a practice of paying them off at the end of the month because I don't want to have to pay that interest. But for those of you who are, can't do that, then at least keep your credit cards at 30% or less.
By 30%, he means of the credit limit.
30% of the credit limit.
If you can put 1,000 on the card, you never want to have more than 300 on that card.
You still,
Right.
there's a wave that you can have of positive points and negative on that, even that 30 school. And
Pay it right off and your credit score will go quick. Build
his maximum FICO score
then you can
is
order
supposed to be below a 25% balance.
real estate, all that.
But you still have positive points for long-term credit. If you go over 100% of your balance, you have huge negative points, but you still have positive points for under 50%, but you have maximum positive points for maintaining the balance under 25%. So it's weird. They evaluate the FICO score it's odd, but they want you to have a small balance. That's the idea.
Randy, do you have a question?
That makes you the best credit risk.
Yes.
I have a question. So people say that you should not pay 100% of your credit card, to increase the credit score. But between the end of the cycle and the day the company actually collects money, like I do usually auto draw. So there is always some kind of amount of the credit card, right? I don't want to pay interest.
Yeah, she's saying by the time you actually paid 100%. By the time the check gets there, you already used your credit card 2 or 3 more times, so there's always going to be something on there anyway. That was my question, leaving something on. I heard somebody say you shouldn't pay it off. You get less points or whatever. But anyway,
remember
that was terrific. That was, don't say any more because we want to make these people sign up.
You got it, buddy.
Billy's like me, he gives out.
I'll give out 200. I'll see you next week when I'm down there.
Okay.
I might go, I'll be in Miami
At a convention, that's this 24th. I might try to get to Jacksonville. I want to see you play.
all right.
All right, any last questions for that? I'm gonna bring up Steve for now, just 5 minutes or so, just to talk about green. But, Billy, thank you.
Okay.
I stopped paying all my bills. I don't pay anybody anymore.
That's actually a strategy.
I don't pay our bills and the stove bill.
That's for the next, there is a strategy. That's for the advance.
That's the gray area.
Tying all of this together, we had a good discussion. We had a good discussion last week, and to answer your question, I thought I had answered the question, but you might not have heard me. Now, I could be wrong. The last time I studied this subject, the FICO points are generated in different ways. You have maximum FICO points when you have a balance that is less than 25% of your total. You have positive FICO points by maintaining a balance less than 50%. If you go over your balance, you're going to have big negative points, okay? So long-term trade lines with a balance of 25% or less of your total balance are going to be positive FICO points. And you need to have like 2 open trade lines, a car payment and a credit card. But that is for maximization. So if you just keep your balance less than half, you can just pay it off, it's fine too. You're still gonna be a good credit risk. Everybody will tell you just pay it off. You're still getting positive points. But if you wanted the absolute, like AC and the SAT, the perfect score in the model, that's how the model looks. It's a complicated situation. So anyway, what was I gonna say? Tying this into what we talked about last week, Scott Layden did a really good presentation on building wealth on the buy and hold side. And this starts with a house that you buy yourself a lot of times. So when I was 21 years old at Florida State, I bought a fourplex and I was cutting lawns. My fourplex generated $1,800 a month. I lived in one of the units and my mortgage payment was $1,000 a month. It would have been, so that's back when interest rates were, yeah, exactly. It would have been even less.
When was that?
That was in 92.
9%, 92.
Yeah, it was 9%. And it was still, I bought a fourplex, a mile from campus, and I was getting $450 a door. So I actually lived in one, and then we bought the fourplex next door, and then bought a house down the street. So started that. But the point is, you can generate wealth by making a good investment in the first property that you purchase. And if you just get to work on, for some of it, this isn't for everyone out here. We've got different levels of people doing different things.
That's not
but even
like rentals, you know what I mean?
yeah, oh yeah, totally. But people depend. Even if you're buying your own house or you're getting a multi-million-dollar loan from a bank and you've got a $50,000 collection sitting out there from something you told the bank to go kiss off on because you don't put up with their crap. I mean, believe it or not, and you see this a lot, you're in the mortgage business, a lot of these business people out there with a lot of assets can have some of the worst credit because they don't pay attention to doing stuff and they don't take any crap. So when someone calls them and tells them to pay, they're just like, come get it. And that happens sometimes. Anyway, so what we try to do with Green is we try to bring a diversity of subjects in and, get you guys educated on different things. Hopefully this was interesting. I found it kind of interesting this evening. But we know we have agents, we have investors, we have mortgage people, we have contractors. So we've got a variety of different people. For those of you, we've got quite a few new faces here. For those of you who do not know, my name is Steve Chasen. Mark and I are the founders of the company. This is an open meeting to everybody. Welcome to come. Invite all your friends. We do this every Wednesday evening. We have a different topic. We have a company that includes the online education and training in a lot more subjects than just this.
And that's Andrea.
And our Dr. Andrea Molinari is our Director of Education. He's in West Palm Beach, Florida, so he attends all of our meetings. And so we do online training, and we charge $99 a month, and it happens to be a network marketing company. So you can bring your friends in, hopefully get paid for and learn for free. That's the idea. And maybe even make some money. So we paid out a couple of commission checks for people who have been signing people up. So I teach people about auctions, Larry teaches about mortgage, and Paul teaches about fix and flips. And I don't know all the people here, but I can tell you that some of the people that are teaching are very savvy multi-millionaire investors that have a lot of experience in the business. We're here to kind of create more of a mentor type environment as opposed to a traditional real estate investor club that, you've got maybe some guys hawking some wholesale deals and some guys trying to sell you this or that. We try to be a little more education friendly, and we want to create an environment that helps people learn.
See, there's a lot of new people here.
Yeah.
Real quick, why don't you go around the room?
Yeah, new faces. Introduce yourselves.
Pretty much everybody.
Yeah.
My name is Caleb Brown. I was invited by Paul and Manny, a real estate entrepreneur.
He's a crazy grinder.
This guy's good. This guy's gonna be good.
Yeah.
We've already made money, let's just put it that way.
Following the right footsteps, so, yes.
All right, Paul, go ahead.
Paul Kazanowski, I know a lot of people, but there's a few I don't know. And I do fix and flips. I also have a portfolio, rental portfolio, and I've been doing real estate for a very, very long time. I mean, all different avenues, but what I do mostly is fix and flip right now, and I teach for Green, and we get into the nitty gritty. I mean, I get into things, what things cost, what colors to use. It's not just evaluating a house, but how do we sell it? Where do we price it? All those things. So it helps. It's very, very helpful. I've taken a lot of students. I mean, Caleb's one of my students, and now he's just, I can't stop him. He's bringing me too many deals. He's just, but it's what I want out of it. It's what you want out of it. Yeah. I mean, we network. That's what we're here for, and I'm a network genius when it comes to that because I love people, and I give all the time.
Hi, Manny.
Oh, yeah. I'm Manny Shook. I do short sales. I've done rehabs back when it was popular and for free, 06, 07. And everybody knew what they were doing, And then I learned short sales from there to bail myself out to where I was.
In the bubble,
Yeah, I
2000.
had a little over $9 million bucks. In debt, 27, had a heart attack in the car. I didn't even know what the fuck was a heart attack. I was just trying
11 million, most people would have a heart attack.
So that's what I do now.
He says he does short sales. He does.
Yeah, we do a lot of business. We do all the short sales together, me and Manny.
All right, next.
My name is Alec. I'm in from Ukraine 6 months now. And I want to learn as much as I can.
You're in the right room.
There you go.
Yeah.
You're in the right room, Alec.
I'll mark the pair.
I want to start something here.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm going to tell you one thing. Four times the chance when a foreigner comes to America, 4 times the likeliness for you to become a millionaire. So you're already ahead of the
He's Romanian, and Paul's Bulgarian, Yugoslavian, so don't worry about it.
I'm from Hickman County.
That's somewhere where.
Jeff. Just got Jeff.
I was in corporate America for a long time, and since I was a little kid, literally, we lived in Clinton, Tennessee, which is over by Oak Ridge and Knoxville, and we had to drive by this huge piece of farmland that was on the river, and the Clinch River. I used to tell my mom and dad, you need to buy that. That'll be worth something someday. It's beautiful, and you gotta have money to make it. Now that's all developed, and they can be millionaires instead of being poor like they are, and they are. I'll just throw that out there. And so I was always interested in real estate, and much like Steve said, when I first moved to Nashville, I had a guy show me a duplex and a triplex. The triplex was $48,000 falling down, but I didn't know any better, so I bought it and moved in one unit. And I can remember taking baths out of the back of the toilet because someone wanted to move in the unit and I needed the cash flow, so I'd move in the unit that didn't have a shower and it would work, me and my wife were working on the shower and going to the Y taking a shower, so.
Smart guy.
That's the way to do it.
He's just smart.
That's the way to do it.
Irina?
I'm Irina, and so I changed my career completely 3 years ago, and now I'm with Green, and it was a wonderful journey. I have a lot of fun.
And she's an awesome cook.
She just bought a condo in Florida. She just sold another house in Florida, so she's moving.
She's not just beautiful, she's smart too.
Well, I have good mentors, let's say.
That's right, that's right.
That's true, Will.
I'm Sabina Toddy. I'm actually in healthcare, but I guess I'm a little bit of a real estate junkie. I'm escaping from the big blocks, $25,000 for us to show you what we know, maybe.
Yes.
So I stumbled across Mark on LinkedIn, and in 2 nights I've learned more than I have in who knows how many other things I've attended.
That's funny you say that, because so many people say exactly what you say. They say, I learned more in one night than I learned. And trust me, I've been offered to coach for all these, so I'm not gonna badmouth any of the names, and it's very expensive. You're talking 25, 30, 35,000 to have a coach, and I can't teach this over the phone. You cannot teach this over the phone.
We have people in this organization who are as successful as the ones that you see on TV or doing those seminars. And we can, the whole point of what we're doing is to be able to deliver that for $99 a month instead of $25,000 and never charge any more. That's the whole point of what we're doing. Because you can, instead of us trying to sell a $20,000 product to 1,000 people, we'd rather sell a $99 a month product to 10,000. And then actually give them a vehicle where they can use that to make money. That's why we felt network marketing was a perfect place for what we're doing.
It sure did.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Next.
My name is Vicki, and Sabina brought me my first time here.
You buy? Vicky, you buy property?
Do
Oh, good. All right.
not much anymore.
All right, well,
Yes.
we'll get the juices flowing again.
So you're an agent, I think.
My name is Sage. It is my real name. I'm from Egypt, and it's my first time here. Quinn invited me, Q invited me, and currently I do independent contractor for Samsung with appliance repair going on.
All right, TVs.
Not TVs, but just
Fine.
Oh, yeah.
Cairo. Cairo?
Yes.
Nice place.
Fernandez Emerson. I go by Q. Inspire others to lead, better themselves for Christ. I'm also a 25-year-old investor. I own my own company, Fernandez Coach Enterprise LLC. I got incorporated back in 2015, and I raised capital for my company. The development grew up done in undergrad school. I'm also a former student of Green. We can close some great deals with some great deals.
We love you, Q. Rock and roll, buddy.
My name is Kishara Miller. I got to run back to Earth, the rest of God is actually starting on the looking for the church house being together.
You did.
And Olivia Davis, Wrightfield, and criminal justice. But now that she invited me to class, now
Awesome.
Come over here.
Do some real estate. Where the money's at?
Good.
My name is Clarisma. I was invited by Q as well. And we do OA over at Crowley Realtors in Green Hills. And so I'm interested. I'm thinking about becoming an agent actually. And so I think it's nice.
Yeah, that's a good one.
It's a good place to meet some agents to help. Well, I mean, if you're already with Crowley.
Oh, I'm in.
You've got a lot of
I can
great
learn
opinions from
everything for
agents.
free, but
Sure. Awesome.
that's my whole network.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I'm Katina Smith. Not gonna say I'm a realtor. I changed lives. I help people become homeowners because they couldn't be. I use credit restoration to help. Mostly I work with single moms. That's my passion. Since I've been in Green, I got a new coach, Coach Bird. Yeah, with Brandon, meeting him again to get my social media and everything started. So, good networking here. Like I said, real estate is my passion. I'm not looking to invest. I just want to be the realtor for the investor.
You know what, not a bad thing to be. We've always got ideas about that.
Yeah.
And you can do both.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, I'm gonna start with that first and stay in my lane. So my goal is, if I see something, I call on these guys. Okay, I see something on the market. I network with different brokers. Look out for me.
Well, and I just, for those, some of you guys know me, some of you don't, some of you have known me for a long time. I actually took the investment model basically, and I became the top RE/MAX agent in Tennessee in 2 years. So I sold $50 million of real estate in 2 years, selling to investors.
Yeah.
And literally, I would.
That's how I met.
Yeah, I would make phone calls. I probably saw 1 out of every 3 properties that I sold. Because when you begin to, it's at least a great pocket for any agent to have. It's a go-to, okay? I can make a well-placed phone call and you learn the numbers and, hey, you know this is a good deal. You build this network, you call this person, like Paul. I mean, I can call Paul if it fits. We got one closed, yeah. It's one it should be a decent flip. He's not the greatest flip, but it's Frank.
Hey, anytime I make 60,000, I don't complain.
Yeah. And Paul.
You either though.
And it happens to be a flip that we're just gonna turn even on. We looked at it and you know what?
It's because you couldn't get in the house too.
Yeah. We buy them at auction sometimes and you got partners on the thing and you look at it and like, you know what? You can't cut this thing up in too many pieces. You got to give it off to one person who'll do it.
But you're buying the area.
So we pass it on to someone we know and got another one this week with the same thing, passing on to someone with a partner with someone in the group. So.
All right, next.
My name is Christian and I'm invited by the
Cool. I'm Eric Moss. Some good friends of Manny and Paul, Caleb. We'll let you in anyway.
This he does a lot of deals, man. Let me tell you.
You're like a linebacker, right?
You know what? I wish I had that money. But I'm a builder, an investor, and just a real estate junkie.
What part of town are you building?
North Nashville, East Nashville, and we got some stuff in West Mead.
Okay, very nice.
And we're building in Nashville there. Oh, yeah. Brighton and Straightway. Okay.
That's a good little pocket there.
Yeah.
Over our cards and put them on the table now. Straightway just came back it's crazy.
Yeah.
I looked at the property, got taken out, and I was like, well, it's not that. And all of a sudden, I'm listening, every house was new, and I was like, we got that for $100,000. I was figuring over 10 grand. I was like, what did I do? I'm an idiot.
You're not an idiot. You just got to reposition the way you think, and you see and get some good money.
The thing is, it's just.
I didn't start being smart either. Trust me. I made a lot of mistakes.
You were just good looking, boy.
I got the good looks. God bless us all.
That was free, eh?
That was free.
All right, Dennis. All right. I'm Dennis Talbot, and I'm in a different kind of space. I'm actually in the future of payments, which is cryptocurrency. And it's amazing how it's going to change our lives. But I met Mark at a Toastmasters meeting and kind of started coming, and I've been learning a lot. I own my own home, but I haven't invested yet, and I'm trying to figure out what the right niche is for me. And you're right. I mean, there's some really quality people here. It's amazing what you can learn. And I have done some of the courses online. They're pretty cool. And you just take notes, and if you do what they say, I'm sure you're going to get the results. So I'm getting to that point, but my passion right now is cryptocurrency, and it is amazing how it's going to change our future.
And one of these days, you're going to tell me what that means.
I know.
We do need to have a lunch so you can explain it to me. It's a different one.
Well, Bitcoin was the originator of the concept. Okay, Bitcoin. There's 725 of them, so you pick it.
But yours is.
Dennis is actually going to do a show on Saturday on this same Omni joint. It'll be
public.
Steve, so you gonna you watch from home, you gonna put a show on there.
April 22nd. We're gonna do it here. Well, I'm gonna do it at my home. And you're gonna do Florida, I guess.
All right.
We're gonna do a presentation. Okay, I'm Larry Cox with Republic State Mortgage. I've been in the mortgage business for 20 years. We'll answer any questions. I'm available just about any time. My business cards are on the table up there. So any clients you want to refer, or if you just have a question about credit repair, I don't do that full time. I'll probably just start sending people to you that are looking for that. But I can give a few pointers. But
I'm not trying to sell them a house.
Wow, that'd be a shame. Then maybe I can make them all. Yeah, that works. So anyway, Green's a great group. Glad to see everybody.
And he also is an investor too, which you forgot.
Well,
Yeah, I've seen some of your deals. He's very humble, unlike myself.
He's like, he cannot not invest. He's like you.
Yeah, he's always in it, yeah.
He's got, more is better.
Yeah.
He's more is better.
Nothing wrong with that.
Get your own horn, if not.
I don't have to.
Go ahead, Steve, toot your horn. I'd like to hear yours.
I'm Steve Mitchell, and actually a Nashville native. Right. Been in real estate a long time. Started out in commercial real estate. I've worn about every hat in real estate. I guess you can. A few more that I need to put on. But,
Teacher.
What's that?
We need teachers.
Well, I'm still learning. I don't know. Maybe if you've been in long enough, you've got a few things.
Best way to learn is to teach.
Yeah, that's probably true. I'm a broker over at Legacy Real Estate Group. We're kind of a small boutique firm based in Brentwood. We service all of those Tennessee. And do a little bit of all of it. Is one reason I call it a boutique firm. Do some property management, and we do some building and a lot of investment real estate. Work with some investors, small and large, and then brokerage for sale. And I've known these guys. I guess that's why I'm here too.
There you go.
I apologize for not starting.
I've been dogging them for about 3 years now.
Yeah.
2 years before we even launched, I'm dogging them.
But real estate is fun. There are a lot of different ways to be successful in real estate, and I think one of the key things is to continue to learn. I've been in it a long time, and there's a lot that I don't know, and I know enough to know that I don't know a lot. So it's always exciting. It's always interesting because you can always keep that learning curve steep. And when the market changes, you can adjust and put on a different hat in real estate, just like back here. And when everything hit the skids and you guys got the short sales,
We had to readjust our whole model.
Yeah.
And you constantly have to course correct. I mean, I use this one all the time, but when a plane leaves one airport and gets to they're course correcting 90% of the time in the air. That's how I feel with real estate, and that's why having mentors and, I don't know everything, even though I've done a lot of deals. I learned stuff tonight. I learned stuff last week, the week before that with Coach Burt. Me and Steve will sit on the phone and he'll teach me stuff, and I'll say things that I'm sure helps him and his. That's the power of being around like-minded people. It doesn't matter if you have a big portfolio or not, or you just want to start. Being that like-mindedness, it'll catapult you. With Caleb, I'll use Caleb as an example. He called me. I helped him a little bit. He called me. I helped him a little bit. He called me. I helped him a little bit. He kept calling me. And I saw talent before he really made a lot of money. I saw the talent and the will and the striving to be. And anything you ask of him, he does. And now, he's done he's put some money in his pocket, some pretty big deals on land and houses.
Now he's stop.
And now because when you see the deals and you see the checks, And it's not just about money, but when you see the checks, it does really motivate you. What motivates people? Why do we get up in the morning and go to work? I mean, it doesn't matter what you do. We all have bills. We all have life goals and things that we want in our life. This is just a different vehicle, and being around the like-minded people, it does catapult you. And there's different programs out there, but which one can you get the biggest bang for your buck and not have to spend an arm and a leg? And guess what? If it's not for you, you didn't spend $30,000. And that's what I always say, and that's the difference.
Ultimately, our goal with Green is to have some of you guys, if you work with our company, and like I said, all of these are free, but have you making a few hundred, maybe build that up to a few $1,000s a month, and then reinvest that money, or partner with people that you meet here to actually get into the investment side. So, I mean, that's ultimately what we want to do. We want to buy some property, we want to get out and do some investment.
Well, real quick, we're going to introduce two of our staff here. Marina?
Yeah, my name is Marina. I just moved from India recently, and I'm so excited to be here because so many experienced people who doing a really awesome job, and I'm happy to be here again, more experience, and which will change my life, I'm sure about it.
She's from Wisconsin.
I thought she was from Hickman County too, like Larry.
Yeah. She's a native Wisconsinner.
It's the accent.
She's an awesome girl. Awesome.
And Marcus, our production manager, or whatever you want.
Good kid. Ukraine, you can't go.
Hey, Larry. No, my name is Marcus Guillory. I'm the video guy here. I do some directing, some camera work, and do the editing of the videos that you see on the site. Getting ready to help some more people here in the group start doing some marketing, I know, right? It's been great here. I think the biggest thing about Green for me, and I don't want to take up time because I know we're going to go, is I'm learning about what confidence is. And to me, confidence is knowledge plus experience. So when Paulie was talking about, my man right here, making them calls and then going out and doing something, making them calls and doing something, not only could he see something in him, he could see something in himself. And me, these videos, meeting new people from different walks of life, like Miss Sabina right here, she does something totally different. And now her mind is aimed at, okay, how can I take what I know and come into the real estate world? Otherwise, we got people who are already in it, people from other countries, we have nationalities, we got ethnics. I love it. I love this family. We got church up in here. Guys, thank you for coming out.
What's the definition of church?
The definition of church is not just church.
Is that a little church?
Church, you yeah, that's me, guys.
All right. Anyway, and of course, Dr. Molinari, our Director of Education. Doc. He makes all the stuff run smooth.
Great man.
I don't know about the smooth thing.
Under my tutelage, he's finally got where he is today.
Well, I can tell you that I really enjoy working with the company. I have a great time working with the various presenters, Larry and Paul. I got to tell you, both you guys, you're going to get a kick out of this, but within the last week, I've actually quoted both Larry Cox and Paul Kazanowski, telling people that I know here in West Palm about things that they've taught me. Like just the other day, Paul, I was actually telling somebody about what you had taught me about the wood and, for wood floors, and that you don't have to buy that top grade. You can go for the stuff, the pennies on the dollar, and it'll keep the character, and you can sand it real nice and put a good finish on it, and it'll look fabulous. And you're not paying that top dollar for it. And, I just really appreciate it. Knowledge that you're picking up and able to share with other people.
Awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, you think about that one little clip. I save people, $4 or $5 a square foot, and it still sells. And the house sells, and we usually get, many offers on the first week or couple of days on market.
If any of you guys ever wanted to actually, if you're on the rehabbing side, wanted to see some good renovations, go see some of Paul's houses and get to touch.
Definitely. I'm always
definitely
Probably a little bit on the masculine side with the renovation, but as far as the taste, that's.
Yeah, we're.
No, it's true.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, I like, yeah.
I mean, but we do try
I
for
like
white,
it, yeah.
white shakers,
Yeah.
and, you know, super white marble now and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
Well, Paul, you gonna do your show tomorrow night?
Yes, and I'm doing,
What time's the show, Steve? Doc?
6, right?
6:30.
6:30, yeah.
6:30 on OmniJoin for the members. Hop on OmniJoin.
And join in tomorrow night after.
And, if you're not a member, come on in here. We'll have it up on the big screen.
And there's a library of stuff that we already covered, but I cover stuff. There's something new every week that comes up. You know, I live this life. I'm not just some guy who coaches. I'm actually in it right now. I mean, I got stories that'll like rattle your heads what I go through.
And all our stuff is recorded. So nice.
This gray hair.
So even if you join a little later, you can pull up his stuff. It will be off
If any of you guys are signing up, grab the person who brought you here tonight. We like to be able to get you out, meet each other, talk a little bit, because I normally kick people out of here at 8. I like to be respectful of people's time. We ran just a little bit long today. We're here open 6 to 8 every Wednesday. Everybody's welcome every time. Thanks for coming.